Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the final Rangers Rabble Podcast of a very, very long season. I hope you're all well. Welcome along. Tonight I'm joined by Alex, Rolf and Scotty. Also supposed to be joined by Scott Kerr, but he's missing because we're doing a wee bit of a quiz at the end, and I think he's shut out to be brutally honest with you. How is everybody? I hope you're all well. Plenty to talk about tonight. We're going to go over the Scottish Cup, the season, individual players leaving. What do we need for next season? And then obviously finishing off with a wee quiz. Scotty, my friend, how are you?
Very well, my man. How are you?
Yeah, I've had a haircut and it's made no difference to the look in my face. So,
well, have you just had a hair transplant from your head to your face? What's going on there?
I know.
You spent all your money getting to Seville and not getting any razor blades.
Yeah, Seville cost me more than my hair. Alex, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good.
I have to say, I'm loving the tie.
Yeah, it's it's a quiz, so I thought it might be a formal one.
It's a 10-question quiz. You're wearing a tie.
I'm really disappointed by the fact there's only 10 questions. I was so excited. I was gearing myself up to like 20 questions, 30 questions, really testing Wilf's knowledge, really embarrassing Alex. But no, we got
the only reason I said yes to this week's podcast was for the quiz, nothing else.
Me too.
No, I got that impression. That's why I only made it 10 questions. Well, obviously not usually here on a Tuesday. How are you?
I'm fine. My Tuesdays are now free until the end of August.
So are we. We're free until the end of August. Right, look, lots to cover. We'll jump straight in with, obviously, Rangers winning the Scottish Cup. Well, just how important, I know it sounds a stupid question, but just how important was that? To get the monkey of obviously not winning the Scottish Cup offer back, but also to get a bit of silverware in the cabinet this season.
Well, it was vital. I mean, the whole ethos of what Rangers stand for is waving big shiny things at us, and we haven't waved the domestic cup at ourselves since in 11 years since we won the League Cup in 2011. We haven't won the Scottish Cup since 2009. I mean,
petrified.
Major Scottish trophy. The only good thing about winning the Scottish Challenge Cup, because it's no longer called the Petrified Cup, is that we've won every domestic trophy in Scotland. No other team ever has or ever will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've won every league championship all the way through, all the Daffy Cups as well. But the Scottish Cup was absolutely vital because, as I say, we had to get the Hampden monkey offer back. I mean, 11 years since we won a major trophy at Hampden, 13 years since we won the Scottish Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we were out of the top division for a while, but still, I mean, we should never have lost the final in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we should have been in finals between then and now. It's an absolute scandal that we haven't been in a final in 6 years. You know, but we had to win it. We've won it. This group of players deserved some sort of silverware this season. I mean, it's an absolute joker that we didn't beat Frankfurt and Seville. Still haven't recovered from that.
Yeah, me too.
Really. But the fact that the players managed to lift themselves enough to get through that game at Hampden on Saturday is testament to them. Because, I mean, outside the ground before the game, there was no atmosphere at all at the Rangers, and everybody was just still so flat after Seville. For a variety of different reasons. Some of it, people were literally just back home. Some people were still knackered. It was just the whole thing was just, everybody was so flat. But for the players to lift themselves and for it to go through yet another set of extra time and look far, far stronger as well. I mean, yeah, testament to the club, but we had to win that. I mean, this group of players, as I say, had to win something this season.
They did. Can I just say, and I know, Scotty, you've messaged, none of you can see the comments because when it comes to the quiz, I don't want any of you getting any answers. So no, only Martin can see the comments because Martin doesn't have to answer any questions. Yeah, up here for thinking, down there for dancing, my friend.
Damn right.
I can't put up. I'm only 5 foot. Performance, Scotty, overall in the final. I was disappointed, obviously going to extra time. Having watched the kind of highlights back, obviously during the 90, you're thinking, when it gets to, I think it was the 86 or something minute, Hearts get a corner. And you're thinking to yourself, we haven't took our chances, here we go. But to be fair, we kind of controlled the majority of the game.
I think we did. I think there's a real expectation for Rangers to play 90 minutes of football and dominate all 90 minutes of football. But I think we've seen, no matter the level of opposition, there could be a couple of minutes, whether that's 2 minutes, 30 seconds or 20 minutes, where the opposition will have the majority of the game. And it's how you handle that without the ball that will determine the result of the game. And we saw for the first 20 minutes that Hearts really came after us with a lot of endeavour, but ultimately they lack the quality that we have. And obviously we then took the game, and we should have won it in 90 minutes. And it gets to, well, I don't know about you guys, but when it got to extra time, I wasn't particularly concerned about the application or the fitness of the players, because we've seen this story before. We've seen them play 120 minutes, then 120 minutes, and it was a similar story. I think the only concern, as Will was saying, is are they actually going to be able to continue with this and pick themselves up? And they did. They absolutely stormed extra time, and they found extra legs that perhaps weren't even there in the 90 minutes. It's a well-deserved victory, but as you said, like the 86th minute or 87th minute, it's like, we've seen this story before, haven't we? But when you've got the big guys in defence, and I think they're a lot more commanding in the box, especially with McLaughlin in goal, because there was balls coming in, long high balls coming in, and he was coming 10, 15 yards from his line to get it. And that gives the defenders that extra bit of confidence that they can go and attack the ball, because they have got that guy behind them who's going to sweep it up. So I had a bit of like confidence, arrogance, even going into the latter stages, that, well, Aribo should have scored. One to say from Gordon, but nonetheless, just about to say it was quite an obvious penalty as well. It's going back. Wilf talks about our record at Hampden before, and we look at, the Sadiq thing against Aberdeen. Ramsey keeper decides to go down. Well, instead of going down, Aribo takes the shot. He doesn't get the penalty. So, which way do you want to look at it?
Yeah, I know. And that was, I suppose, Alex. See, and first of all, actually, Paul says Alex looks like Penfold with a tie on.
He's not old enough to know who Penfold is.
I don't know who that is.
Well, Nicholas,
Danger Mouse's sidekick.
Yes, Danger Mouse. It's his school uniform, which I think I would have loved to have wore that to school. To be brutally honest with you. See if you, Alex, take a look at the final, Europa League final and the Scottish Cup final. Was the big noticeable difference just not having that out-and-out striker? See for what we actually managed to achieve in that Europa League final, although we obviously didn't go on and win it, and then do what we done in the Scottish Cup final, because we did control it and we had some glorious chances that a fit Kemar Roof or an Alfredo Morelos eats them for breakfast.
Yeah. Although, Aribo plays that role in both the games, and Aribo gets the goal in the first, in the Europa League final, he gets our goal. We missed an out-and-out striker, somebody who's then allows Aribo to have more of a free role and, just positioning and getting in the box and bullying people if you're Morelos anyway. And it's the same in the final, Morelos loves a snapshot, and it catches loads of people off guard, including himself sometimes. So, stuff like that is helpful. And he's obviously a big bully, a big presence. And, defenders are worried about where he is, even if they're not the ones watching him. They're looking over the shoulder to see where he is. Although Aribo technically is he's gifted, he's a brilliant player, he's not got the same presence. He is strong, but he's not got the same presence Morelos has. And players aren't looking over their shoulder to see where he is. And to be fair, that's how he gets his goal in the Europa League final. And Joe's brilliant. He is a brilliant player, but someone like Morelos, like a fully fit Roof, which has been the story of his season. He's never really got there. Is what we were missing. You it's a testimony to how well we did getting there without a striker against Leipzig, and playing as well as we did, all things considered, and even how well we did in the final. But yeah, I absolutely think that is something that we missed.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, Brian Miller says it here. Look, what team in the world wouldn't miss having strikers? Happy with how we played without one. Yeah, it's just obviously, listen, the Europa League final is going to sting for a while, I think. It's absolutely going to sting for a while. Well, I've completely forgot what I was going to ask you. Yes, I've remembered. How could I forget? Ryan Jack's goal. Maybe it was going to take a moment of brilliance just to open that up a wee bit for us. But you don't hit a ball like that very often, do you? And can you please tell me what Craig Gordon's asking for? Because I still don't have a clue.
I'll take your second question first. I haven't got a clue either. The only thing I can think of is he was complaining that Scott Wright was standing in front of him when the ball broke out of the box. But there was a defender between Scott Wright and him, so he's got nothing to complain about. But I mean, how long have we been saying that the ball, when the second ball drops out of the box, we've got nobody there that's willing to take a shot? It normally drops to Glenn Kamara, who's the last player in the team that's going to shoot. That one came to Jacko, and he doesn't hit very many, but when he catches them, they fly into the net. I, at the time, thought Craig Gordon should have got that, because it was right above his head. And the first time I saw it back, I thought, maybe he could have got a hand on that, but there's no way. You're not stopping that. It's right over his head at pace, and it's a hell of a hit. I mean, the fact that Jack doesn't just hit it, he controls it first, tees it up for himself. That could have hit anybody on the way through, but it just went straight through, right into them. What a dig. Just magnificent. Just a pity one of them didn't drop them on Wednesday night. But.
Yeah. Scott?
Look, I was just mimicking Craig Gordon.
Oh, I thought you knew. I thought you knew he was done about. I genuinely, he can't be claiming for offside.
A lot of people were saying, and probably Craig Gordon in hindsight was right to just claim for it because Willie Collum was likely to give it. And I'm surprised he didn't actually give something for something he didn't see, because he did that all game. So I don't actually blame him for trying the audacious. I don't know, maybe he was waving at the fact that he, trying to get the ball on the way back out. who knows? But I was not saving that. I mean, yeah.
Also, Scotty, we have to bring up Scott Wright.
Why?
The energy level. That's somebody put it on Twitter. I can't remember who, but you see the run that he makes, the pace that he's got to burn. Is he starting to change anybody's minds that he can be a useful squad player? Because I know there's been a lot of chat about him. People don't think he's good enough for Rangers.
Is that why you're asking me?
That's why I'm asking you. Has he changed anybody's mind?
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I can count. I've run out of fingers and toes how many times I've been wrong this season. So I might be starting to. I think my hands are about here before I fully do a Craig Gordon and stick him right up and say I might be a bit wrong. He's looking good, and he's. Do you know what? He's had a Kyle Lafferty-esque end to the season. And it's a real shame that the season stopped now, because we could keep playing and keep winning. And he's, one of the reasons he's really stepped up when we're looking threadbare. And that is exactly what you want from a Rangers player, someone in the squad that's able to do that. And he's, adding numbers, adding goals to his games. And, one of the main criticisms was he'd get into the final third and just not look like he knew what to do with it. But now if you look at the goal against Leipzig, if you look at his goal in the cup final and his contribution overall, he's adding to the attributes that we already knew he had, which is his pace and his energy. I think his positioning on the pitch, he's obviously worked on that. And I think that's also a testament to the coaching staff, who are really showing the players what they want from them really clearly. And it's almost like we didn't have that before, because now we're getting the best out of players, and you can even extend that to players like, in my opinion, players like Bassey.
Well, if I could, I'll come to you in a wee second, Alex, but I could see Wolf was giving me the death stare there. So, Wolf, I'll let you have your say on Scott Wright before I come to Alex.
Well, I've said basically since he came in that he runs about a lot and that's all he does. He's got no football intelligence. He seems to be proving me wrong a little bit on that, because look at the run he made on Saturday. I think two or three weeks ago he probably ran offside because he's got no intelligence for what he's doing. I think he's learning. They're certainly coaching him. I'd like to see what a full pre-season does for him, because when he was at Aberdeen, all he did was kick the ball over his head and he chased it. So he's beginning to prove me wrong, but I still think we've got better than him at the club. I mean, if it was me, I'd be starting Alex Lowry before him, for example.
Different positions, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But I would take him out of the team, put Alex Lowry in if we had a striker, because we would need to take somebody like if Rufus Morelos was fit. You put them in, you take him out, you'd leave Aribo and Kent if they're both still at the club. You know what I mean? But I don't know. At the moment, we've got fit. He's certainly beginning to prove me wrong. But
listen, I'd have Alex Lowry in the team himself. That's how much.
I was screaming for him to start on Saturday, but he didn't even get off the bench. So.
No, I know. Alex, just on this as well, Brian Miller makes the point that Gio seems to like him. And I think if there's one thing that we've all got to kind of, not all of us, but the people who were critical of Gio when things weren't going too well, I think we've got to learn to trust Gio.
Yeah. I think initially with certain players, his hand was forced due to injuries and other players not performing, or the lack of quality we had in that position gets right a run of games. And at the beginning when he came in, he was getting shown up by the youngsters, and he was getting shown up, and that's why, although we absolutely love how good they're doing, he wasn't doing well enough for him to be deserved of a place in the squad. And I think the first ever time I came on the Rabble Podcast, me and Scotty had that debate that Scotty was saying about his end product is so poor, and that is something that is not easy to coach, especially when he's not 17, 18. It's not something that's incredibly easy to coach. It's something that will take a lot of time to develop, and maybe he doesn't have, or we don't have the time to wait that long. But it seems that, especially over the last 6 months or whatever, he's a lot more of a threat and a bit more confident in himself. And I'm a bit more confident when he's taking somebody on. Not that he's just going to beat them, but then he's going to go and do something with the ball. Or, rather than thinking, his feet thinking faster than his brain and just keep going and going and going, and then looking up and there's nobody there because he ran it too far, or, he's not played it early enough. He seems to be looking up a little bit more, and that's how he gets, like Scotty says, he gets the involvement against Leipzig, he gets the involvement at the weekend, and he just is more involved in build-up play and in the final product too.
Well, Mr. Tommy Boy 75 still regard Wright as a squad player, but you need squad players, and you need squad players to give the manager something to think about. So, obviously, I think Gio likes him. He'll be in the team next season, and we'll see how he develops.
I'm not utterly convinced. We've seen him come onto a game, and Wright has almost, the injuries have kind of forced Gio's hands to play right, because Gio wants to play in a certain way with certain players. And I think Wright has found himself into that position, and he's improved because of what's happened. I don't think Gio's going to go into next season wanting Scott Wright to be in that position. Mm-hmm. Yes, that will be his position to play when he plays for Rangers, but he won't want, I'm convinced he won't want Scott Wright there. He will want I will happily say a significant upgrade on that. So I'm not utterly convinced that he likes him. I think he will play him and he will trust him to a certain extent, but I wouldn't go that far.
Well, we'll wait and see. Listen, it could be one of the guys, it just suddenly clicks and something happens and he becomes good Good. I'm just going to say good, and we'll leave it. We shall leave the right chat at that before I say something stupid. Well, for the season as a whole, the League Cup embarrassment, finishing second in the league, a Europa League final, and a Scottish Cup win. How does the season sit for you personally? How do you feel about it? Is it success? Can it be a decent season or a good season without it being successful? Does that make sense?
I know what you're trying to say, and it's not a successful season, because a successful season for Rangers is winning the title, because that's your bread and butter. Winning the league's your bread and butter, and it's not just a case of we finished second in the league and we beat the semi-final of the League Cup. The semi-final League Cup was an absolute embarrassment, and we threw the league away. We only finished second in the league because we threw the title away. So from that point of view, it's not been a good season. European final, nobody could have seen that coming. I mean, if somebody said to me when 10 men from Malmo knocked us out in the Champions League qualifier, somebody said to me, look, you'll be in Seville on the 18th of May, cheering on Rangers in the Europa League final, I'd have committed them. I would have driven them to the league by myself. I really would. You know? I mean, even after the first two group games, you know, after that second game in Prague, when we lost in Prague, if somebody said that to me, if they said to me that Calvin Bassey would have been man of the match, I mean, I would just have thrown the key away. You know? Season's been okay because we've won a trophy, and Rangers are all about winning trophies, as we said earlier. But it's certainly not been a good season. It gives us a lot to work on. But for me, it's not been that good a season, although I wouldn't have swapped the European run for anything. Well, obviously I'd have swapped it for a win, but last week. But
it's one of those, but I know what you're saying. This is probably, Scotty, the best way I've seen it described. 51% unsuccessful.
Well, we've played in 4 competitions, or 5 if you include the Champions League. We've got 1 trophy. I'd say it's less than that. I will always go back to say there's no pictures on the scorecard. And when we look at this in 20 or 30 years, we'll say, yes, well done, we got to a final, but it's our 5th final, we didn't win the trophy. We came second in the league, where we had a 6-point advantage going into the halfway stage. We got knocked out at the semi-final by Hibs in no pictures on the scorecard. We don't need to mention that. And we got pumped by Malmo. So we've walked away with the Scottish Cup in the last possible opportunity to win silverware. Next season, we need to be going into, as far as competitions and silverware goes, we need to be walking away with that League Cup, because it sets down a huge mentality marker.
I agree. No, I agree. I completely agree. But Jim Sloan, channel member, only successful clubs reach European finals. We have come a long way. Do we need to get rid of this pattern now, Alex, that we've came a long way? Does that need to go in the bin now? Yeah,
it's the same kind of crack when people say it took Gerrard 3 years to win his first league title. If we can't afford to wait that long again. He was building a project, and he rebuilt a project, and okay, it's not Gio's squad now, but we now have the finances off the back of that win, off the back of this European run especially, to go and back Gio in the summer and make it now, rather than waiting 3 years and then in another 3 years. You can't win 1 league title every 3 years.
No.
That's nowhere near good enough. And listen, we come away with the Scottish Cup, which in the end is a bit of a relief, because on Saturday it was quite hard to celebrate, because it was everything. I mean, if we didn't get that, we had a trophyless season. Mm-hmm. So it's not how far we've come, because we did that 3-4 years ago. We should have been challenging sooner than we did, and then when we eventually get the challenge through, we should still be competing in the cups, which we weren't doing, and even now, I mean, in the League Cup, like the boys said, the way we went out was okay. It was a bit confusing what was going on behind the scenes, but on the pitch, we were still should have been the better team on the day, and that first half was abysmal. It was one of the worst 45 minutes I've watched. Well, I'd say this season. This is not the worst, but it's one of the worst 45 minutes you've watched this season, which is hard to say. But it was just incredibly poor, and everything we did wrong. And there's certain games that you can reflect on now, and you look back on now, and you go, that shouldn't have happened, and we shouldn't have allowed ourselves to get into even a fight for the title. The position we were in, we should be laughing right now. And listen, the European run takes its toll. Absolutely, it takes its toll, and you wouldn't swap it out for certain things other than. But you go so far, and then you come away with nothing. Had we lost against Hearts, we would have been trophyless this season, and a European final runners-up counts for nothing.
I know, but
sorry, Martin. Can I just jump in there, Martin? Sorry, Alex. You say the European run cost us, but we threw the league away before we got into the knockout stages of Europe.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I'm not saying that's what cost us. I'm saying, it takes its toll, as it says, because we were always brilliant on a Thursday, and then the following Sunday we would be a little bit less brilliant. The players seemed to thrive on the big games, and that became an issue when you played the likes of Dundee United away or Motherwell at home, when we threw a 2-goal lead and were looking splendid in the first half, and we were really poor in the second half. It's not just about the European run, and there shouldn't be excuses for we should be able to have been coasting by the point that the European knockout games came along. In the league, we should have been able to take the foot off the gas a little bit and still have a big enough lead to see us through to the end of the season and have a European run with the position we were in. It's not an excuse to say, because we should have gone and done it this season, and we dropped point after point, and the European run isn't so much an excuse, but it's more to say that achievement was then, especially towards the end of the season, when in the heads of many fans it was over. That was when it kind of took the front run.
Do you know?
When they moved that winter break.
I know I'm going to come on to that in a wee second, Wolf, right? But you see this in England all the time, right? You see this. Clubs are trying to reach top 4 to make it into Europe, and then they say they get so far in a European competition, and it's a case of, well, we can't really bother with Europe because we need to finish top 4 to get back into Europe. So it's one of those ones this season. Is there some kind of takeaway that we can have that, see if the European run did affect us in the league, for example, right? If it did, if it meant us dropping points at Ross County or Motherwell or whatever, can you not just give that a bye because of how well we were doing in Europe? Because surely if the aim is to win the league, to get into Europe, you want to do as well as you can in Europe, because the next 50 years, Rangers and Celtic are both going to win the league multiple times each. It's going to happen. It's not very often you're going to get to a European final.
Yeah, but as I said to Alex, Martin, we threw the league away before the knockout stages in Europe. We threw the league away in January and early February. We didn't play Dortmund until the middle of February. It was done. But as soon as we moved that winter break, it took our momentum, and for whatever reason, we came back from winter breaks half asleep, and that's what cost us. I mean, the Dortmund, the 1-4-2 in Dortmund, to me looked like an outlier, because we're form up to them domestically had been an absolute shambles, and then we came in, we picked up a bit after that. But that's what cost us. Coming back and losing that game in the 2nd of February is really what cost us.
Well, there's various factors.
We didn't fall any further behind them during our run to the final. So you can't blame the European run for losing the league.
No, absolutely not. Is there any, and I don't think there is, Scotty, right? So I probably shouldn't ask this question, but I will anyway. Can we blame Gerrard leaving at all? Did that have anything to do with it? Because when Gio came in, he started okay, and then
exactly,
it kind of seemed to go down. So we can't even use the excuse of we lost one manager, can we?
No, because no. I mean, ultimately, what goes on behind the scenes goes on behind the scenes, but it's not like Gerrard's come in or Gerrard's left, and I'm going to use that League Cup semi-final as the point. It was still the players that was playing under Gerrard that took to the field to play that semi-final, and it was abysmal. And then if you look when Gio came in and took over, I don't really see that much in terms of performance levels from when Gerrard was managing in the league to when Gio took over. But Gio went on a run of picking up all these results, but the performances were still poor. That said, when we started coming up to the winter break and we had a couple of fixtures, we really started motoring. And as Will said, when they moved that and brought the wind to break forward, and I've said this multiple times, and I'm amazed that like it's just been left. That was the pivotal moment in the league season, because we would have beaten Celtic, we would have beaten Aberdeen, and then that league table looks a hell of a lot different. And then you're coming back from the winter break in an entirely different position, because the league is pretty much done. But then we had this typical, or what felt like a deja vu, typical post-split collapse. And yeah, it just seems to happen far too often. But I wouldn't pinpoint Gerrard leaving, because I think we've actually picked up and improved.
Yeah, we have improved, definitely. But it took a wee bit of time, I think, for Gio's that, even though he, like you say, he was scraping by with results, and then you can only scrape by for so long if you're not performing, and then you drop it, and then there was a big change, as if the players took time to buy into his tactics. Somebody said that in the comments, and I can't find it, so I can't take a lot of credit for that. Alex, the season as a whole, then I've just lost the comment that I was going to bring up, and it's really, really annoying me. I'll take it back to this, and I don't want to take it back to this, but 4 seasons out of 5, I think it's 4 seasons out of 5, the winter breaks killed us. Why?
Good question. I think if we could answer it, then maybe we wouldn't be looking at such a problem. I don't know. Maybe it's a mentality thing where, the players seem to think they can put their feet up, and it's in reality, that the hard work is nowhere near done, and that's where you should be kicking on. There's not many leagues in the world where they have the break, and that's where you can kind of have a look yourself and go, okay, this is only halfway, and that's what we need to realize, that is only halfway, and there is still a lot of work to be done. I mean, with the exception of last season where we had no winter break, it shouldn't have mattered anyway, the way last season went, but the winter break it is at the moment, it is only an excuse. It shouldn't be an excuse. It shouldn't be any reason to drop performances. Or if other teams are raising their games, we need to raise ours too, because we are capable. There's players that are rotational in our squad that would be other teams, but they'd be in there week in, week out, and we have a good enough squad to be able to compete in the competitions in Scotland without some key players. Injuries are gonna come and go, and it's gonna pester us, but we still should have to have a good enough squad to be able to compete without certain players.
We should have a good enough squad, Alex, to compete in Scotland.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I mean, put the European thing aside, I mean, the winter break doesn't have an effect on that, and the league form doesn't have an effect on that, because I think Frankfurt finished something like 11th or 12th in their league. So, but going on, just on the winter break's impact is, I don't know why, but if it's fear, I get fear of the winter break now. I hate it. I don't want, I want the first game back to be something easy now, because you get scared that the Rangers players aren't up for it, and especially when, the fixture congestion because of a bit of incompetence, and we end up having 2 games added on to them, especially in the size of the games they were. I wonder, would it have mattered had the games been potentially, Dundee and St Johnstone that were coming up, because it was Celtic and Aberdeen, and the size of the games that were there and the form that we were on, albeit away from home, the performances were below average. We were holding out for wins. We still had the momentum and the morale boost that we were going to go on and potentially win them, and the winter break moving forward, then for whatever reason sets us off, and then we go and draw with Aberdeen, and the lackluster performances start to take a hit, and the points are dropped, and it shouldn't be like that, but it just continues to be.
Curry Muncher, Wilf. Over the season, we've lost 2 of the biggest names at Rangers. We lost our manager and backroom staff. We have been without 7 of our best players over the course, and we have played more minutes than anyone else. What do you think?
It's all factually correct, but still not a good enough season. I mean, we threw the league away Not because Gerrard left. I mean, we threw the league away because it was the same squad of players. Just I don't know why the ineptitude of players. I've got no idea why it is. I mean, it's been the same group of players for the 4 years we've just discussed, and they've come back from the winter break every time under Gerrard and under Van Bronckhorst, and it just hasn't worked. So it's got to be something. It can't be. You can't say, well, it's the way Gerrard approached the winter break and they came back and it didn't work, because the same thing happened again this year. So to me, it's a player mentality thing, and I don't know what it is. If I could put my finger on it, I wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast.
Well, maybe you would. You could be famous and rich Wolf and still do this. You know, look at Scotty.
Well, indeed, but no, I don't know. It still sticks in my throat that they moved that winter break, and we just felt a bit after it. No rhyme or reason as to why. And the League Cup semi-final, I'll never ever be able to explain.
No,
because the players knew who was coming in. They knew the manager was sitting in the stand, and the only good thing to come out of that aberration that day was that Van Bronckhorst says he saw something in Bassey that day, and he's worked on it. And look what we've got now.
And we will 100% come to that in a wee second. Scotty, James is in the comments and he's saying, bottom line, their recruitment was better than ours in January. Anything to do with recruitment for yourself? Mm-hmm. Not for you?
No, because even with the players that come in, we should have still had enough.
Who came in January?
Ramsey, Diallo, that Polish right back, Sands.
So did anybody that we bring in January add to the squad?
No.
I don't think that's the point, because I still think with the existing squad we've got a better squad. The recruitment and the problem lies isn't January, it was the summer. Because that is the point where you should have identified that we need another striker. That was the point we should have taken a look at the squad and gone, can these boys actually get us through the entire season without injuries? Because regardless of who we brought in January, we still would have gone with the same 11 come February, March, and the injuries that we picked up would have still been picked up by the key players. And those were the issues that were ignored in the summer, not January.
I think, Martin, the point that John was making there was that not so much their recruitment. I mean, when that game should have been played against them towards Christmas time, right? There was 9 when it eventually got played in February. They only had 2 players that played in that game that could have played when it was originally scheduled, or injured because of injury and new players they brought in. That's the difference. They freshened the squad up. They brought in players they needed. They didn't have strikers and wingers and they had all sorts missing, and they brought in players that could play against us that couldn't have played had the game been late December. Whereas we're looking, we've got a striker that's made of glass, a striker that ended up being injury prone, and we let one go. I still don't understand why we let Defoe go the day before they announced we're back to 5 subs. I just can't get my head around that at all. Because do
you know what I don't understand? We looked at that squad in January as well, and we said, right, okay, well, we need a striker, which they should have done in the summer. Mm-hmm. We need a striker, and instead of going out and getting one that could do the job, what did they do?
Brought back in.
They brought back in,
mm-hmm.
who we knew isn't capable, who isn't capable in the Bundesliga, and who certainly wasn't capable for us. That's what they did.
But the whole Cedric Itten loan was ridiculous. I mean, why would you loan a striker from a team that's challenging for titles to a team that's basically cannon fodder in the German Bundesliga? Because Gunther Firth have proved that what they were going to do. They finished bottom of the league and hardly won a game.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get chances. Why they'd be better putting him at Hamburg or Schalke or somebody at the top of the second division in Germany if you're putting him in Germany.
Because those teams...
That'd be like saying, I've heard the rumour that some of the B team players are maybe going out to Holland. That'd be like putting them to somebody at the bottom of the Dutch first division. What's the point? I mean,
Alternative.
You'll learn nothing. They'll win the pressure all the time.
Alternatively, maybe that was one of the only teams that saw something in him and wanted to take him, because there isn't a lot going for it. And I mean, I think he had an outstanding season the season before we bought him, and okay, he looked like an impact sub at times for us when he was here, but I don't think there was many teams that were going to, go out there and get him. And Griffith Firth, they'd just come up. They were going to try something different and maybe thought that he could be of a helping hand, which in turns he wasn't for them or us.
Do you know what? That was going to be one of the questions of the quiz. Who did it and go out and loan to? And I'm glad I didn't make it right now because you all know the answer. So I'm glad I made the questions a wee bit more difficult.
He did score against Bayern Munich though.
That was also going to be another one of the questions. So, Scotty, the fact that we didn't win the League Cup, finished second in the league after being 6 points clear at the winter break. So, for the failures in the league, whose fault is it?
It's not mine.
Is it a culmination of players, managers, and the board, or
it's the football club. Why? I don't think it would be appropriate to single out one person or a few people when the whole thing is a collective. You win together, you lose together. So we get to the Europa League final with this squad, and we give them all praise, but then you don't look at, Gio fucked up the league, or Ross Wilson didn't sign X amount of players, or Sakala missed that chance against Dundee United. It's a huge collective, and you win as a football club. You take the plaudits with the Scottish Cup, and then you recognise the deficiencies of why we didn't win the league as a football club. So I don't want to think.
I can tell you the comments are recruitment, the board, and Ross Wilson. That seems to be the way the comments are going in this.
Well, you can pinpoint things, but I think you can pinpoint things from every single area of the football club. So collectively, I think you've got to recognise that it is our deficiencies that stopped us from winning the league.
The problem with asking the question now, and I agree to an extent about the recruitment, and I've said before, was the recruitment in January as quiet as it was because Ross Wilson didn't identify players, or the board didn't sanction Ross Wilson to sign the players? We've all got degrees in hindsight now because we're looking back on it saying, well, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. But at the time, we were all fairly happy with what was going on. We brought in Aaron Ramsey, everybody thought brilliant, but with hindsight, we should never have touched them. We've all got degrees in hindsight, but they have to get the summer right. Tell you right here and right now, they have to get the signings right in the summer.
Well, we're going to come to the signings in the summer. I promise. It's 43 minutes. This is going to be such a long show. Should I even go into this next bit? I'll tell you what, I'll bring up CGM. Morelos, for all his strengths, doesn't score enough goals. I don't know if that's fair. Roof is a sick note in it and is it and can't get 2 goals. Aribo went to Africa and Hadji got injured.
That makes it sound like Aribo went on a safari. He fucked off for 3 weeks on a safari during mid-season.
Do you know what, Alex? If we take a look at some individuals, if we look at Joe Aribo, who you gave me as a talking point before we started because I forgot. First half of the season, I think we actually forget just how good he was. If he carried that into the second half of the season, if that was consistent, that would have probably been one of the best performance seasons in any individual player I've seen for a long, long time. So to go for having that Joe Aribo to the Joe Aribo in the second half of the season, along with the Hadji injury, along with the Morelos injury, along with the Roof injury, it's going to affect anybody, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Joe obviously took a bit of a... I think Nigeria were one of the favourites for AFCON, and they didn't do so well, and maybe it took a bit of a mental stumble at that point. And to be fair, he looked dead on his feet, and he didn't get the break as well that he needed when he came back, because we relied on him and how good he was for us, and how many injuries or other players that potentially recruitment we didn't have enough cover for him. So unfortunately he couldn't get the recovery time, and he was thrown straight back in. But especially during Gio's first month, that he showed how important he was in the December games. I mean, I think the closest one we came in that run with Gio was we beat Dundee United 1-0 at home, and prior to Joe Aribo coming on off the bench when we were giving him a break, because I think he was one yellow card away from suspension, and we were supposed to have Celtic just around the corner. Joe wasn't on. The game was not 50-50, but we didn't have somebody who could break through. And when Joe came on, he doesn't get the goal, but he just helped us. And he was so creative in that first half of the season. And we lacked that in the second half. And like I say, even though Joe kind of took his foot off the gas, we didn't have anybody to replace that. We didn't have anybody else doing the numbers that, or the, especially passing the eye test, because Joe was he was involved so heavily in everything we did. And after that, obviously missing him was, we didn't have somebody who could replicate the numbers.
Can I just say before anybody else jumps in, I'm going to just find them right now because it's doing my nothing, because I've already said this about 3 or 4 times. Where is the comment? But more importantly, why is Alex wearing a polo shirt with a tie?
It's not a polo shirt.
It's not. It's the retro top from last season.
It's a retro top. Right. Once we've finished discussing all this, I've got a 10-question quiz, and Alex thought to give him the best chance of getting it right, he thought, I need to wear a tie. That's why he's wearing a tie. Well, I mean, I don't think you can help that.
100%. Alex was the first one in the classroom sat.
And that's why Scott just froze.
Oh, what happened there? Oh, I said something really funny then.
It's karma. That's the karma.
And again.
Don't freeze, Scotty, because I want to come to you about somebody.
Before you do that, can I say my piece about the Joe Aribo African Nations Cup situation?
You fire in, Will. 47 minutes in, you fire in.
Okay, right. Joe Aribo, I think he's played more minutes than any other player in Europe this season. I'm sure I read that as a stat. If he hasn't, it's close, right?
Yeah,
he relied so much on him, right? And Alex said, he came back from AFCON and he was straight back in because we had nobody to replace him. That's true. But it wasn't a surprise that he went to AFCON. We've known since before we signed him. He's a Nigerian international. He will be going to the African Cup of Nations. We should have made provision to have cover for him and potentially anybody else that went away. I mean, we know when these international tournaments are. It's like if they were playing for some reason, playing through the World Cup in November, we know we're likely to lose players, so you've got to have cover for that. Mm-hmm. So Aribo going away wasn't a surprise. We should have had cover, and he shouldn't have had to come straight back in and play the games. It's no wonder. I mean, it's no wonder he wasn't the player in the second half. He was in the first half. I mean, the poor guy must be absolutely shattered. I'd be shattered just watching him.
Listen, I'm shattered getting up off the couch. You know what I mean? So I can't really say anything. Scotty, John Lundstrom, did you at any point at all, Mrs. has just opened the door singing the John Lundstrom song. Did you see that turnaround coming?
Oh, absolutely. I've always been his biggest fan. I've always talked him up. I've always been a lover of him. I said earlier I've lost fingers and toes how many times I've been wrong this season, and that's probably the big.
I don't think you were the only one.
Throbbing thumb that really sticks out in terms of Scotty got that so badly wrong. But then I felt like a jinx. I couldn't praise him all season. But now after the season's done, but what a player. What a player. His positioning, he's reading the game, his composure, his passing. One of the key components to the European run, one of the key components to Gio's tactics. He's clearly intelligent, he's got the passion, he's got the hunger, and he's exactly what you want in the Rangers midfield. And I'm absolutely thrilled, delighted, ecstatic that we've got him.
Before I come to you, Alex, for everybody watching, hello, how you doing? This is the last Rabble podcast of the season. However, I am hoping, I can't say for sure yet, but I'm hoping that Wilf, Alan and Brian, maybe once a week during the break, manage to get the Walters Way series back up on its feet. Maybe do that live. I don't know yet because I've not asked them, but I will certainly give Wilf a wee nudge. So I'm going to ask you anyway. Please do subscribe and press the wee notification bell thingy so that when we do come back, when Walter's Way does come up, or the first podcast, the first breaking news when we sign somebody, you won't miss it. And give the show tonight a like, if you don't mind, please. If you're watching on Twitter, give us a wee retweet, a like, and you can put your comments in on Twitter as well, because they come up on my little screen. Alex, John Lundstrom, first name on the team sheet next season?
Yeah, that's somebody you can build the squad around. I see Scotty singing his song there. Well, I was most surprised because I put a wee tweet out today, and I was most surprised to see that under best signings, Scotty has put Lundstrom. I was never expecting that from him.
Is that why you fired it into the chat? Because you knew I'd do it, and then you could go, right, I've got my material for later.
I've got it sitting on my screen just now. No, I was just thinking, what could I pick up on? No, Lundstrom's somebody you can build that midfield around Lundstrom, and to be fair, midfield, luckily for us, is somewhere that at the moment, before anybody moves on or anywhere, it is probably our strongest point, and it's definitely something you can build around. And there's more players that, like Lundstrom and Jack, that you think will probably be here, most likely be here when next season comes. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same boat today. Obviously, we didn't make a lot of signings last season, but today, when I put that one out, and a lot of people are saying that he was our best signing, John Lundstrom, and like I said, there's not a lot to compete with, but he was getting honourable mentions for even underrated player, and I think how he found it hard at the start to maybe fit in a little bit, and he wasn't getting the minutes week in, week out. When he had kind of that breakthrough moment, it really helped him to kick on, and especially under Gio, because I think in January, even on the final day, there was rumours of him going back down south, and everyone was like, let's just try and recoup as much as we can. That's what people were saying, because up to that point, he hadn't really had an impact on our season. Not a positive one anyway, and not a massive impact on our season. I mean, he scored that goal against Hearts, but apart from that, the performances weren't really clicking for him, and when he was playing a bit better, we didn't seem to be playing a bit better. So people, in January, had he gone, I wouldn't have been crying. But
nobody would.
Now, he's definitely somebody you can build that team around, and he is one of the first, if not the first name on the team sheet.
He's incredibly dependable.
Yeah.
And his fitness. I really get the impression that for all tactical. As tactical genius as Beale is, and how wonderful Steven Gerrard is, I just felt that sometimes they didn't know how best to use the players at their disposal, and I felt like John Lundstrom was one of them, because you looked at him and you didn't really know what his role is, but you know his role under Gio. You know exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and he knows exactly what he's supposed to be doing. But under Gerrard, I mean, where was he playing in the midfield? Just somewhere in the midfield. He was getting forward, getting back. But right now, every midfielder knows their role.
I think Lundstrom put too much pressure on himself under Gerrard, because, I mean, I'm on record. I mean, back in January, I'm on record as saying I'd have driven him out of the club myself wherever he wanted to go, I'd have taken him. But thinking about it, he's played a lot better since Van Bronckhorst came in. But when he signed, we all considered him to be Gerrard's boy. So was he under too much pressure because he was a Scouse boy that only came here because of Gerrard? Because I would have thought when Gerrard left, we wouldn't have seen him for dust. Because, as I say, I consider him to be Gerrard's boy. So, is it because he didn't feel so much pressure? I mean, we don't know. And it's not a question I'm going to ask him. But,
it could be down to a few things, right? I mean, look at, probably not the best example to bring up, right? Look at Barisic. Look how long it took Barisic to adapt to the Scottish game. And then, as Paul says, Lundstrom said it himself, he struggled to adapt to the league. The Scottish League might not be as good as the English League, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, Messi could come to Scotland and be rubbish just because of the type of league that Scotland is. Using it as an extreme example, Scotty, right? Take that away. Should we not also maybe give, Scotty mentioned it, Gio credit?
Absolutely, 100%. Gio's certainly worked out how to play him, how best to utilise him. I mean, as Alex says, you could quite easily build the midfield around Lundstrom next season. I can't even say it. But I mean, what we do need for next season is a midfield that will score goals, because we're really short of goals. We haven't scored enough goals this season. Even when we had fit strikers, you can't rely on just like to score goals. We need 2 or 3, 12 to 15 goals a season goal scorers.
Hadji's one of them, is he not?
No.
Lowry.
No. Lowry.
Lowry. Yeah, I mean, Lowry will take chances. Lowry has to be...
The kid wants to score goals.
Has to get a lot. Lowry will take chances. He's always looking to go forward.
He wants to score goals. You can see it. He's like, he wants the adulation. He wants that thrill. He thrives off that. And I think he's got that creative ability, but he's also got that ruthlessly selfish nature where he will do it himself. And there aren't that many players in world football that reach the top level that are able to do that. That's why they're so unique. But I genuinely think Lowry, especially next season, could be our key player. One of them.
He 100% has to be involved next season. But we do not have time to talk about it. I really wish we did, but we don't. CGM saying Messi would do okay, but might struggle a bit at the Tony Macaroni. Everybody struggles at the Tony Macaroni. CGM makes a point like Ryan Jack returned to the team and Lundstrom played better immediately. You're going to play better if you get better players next year. Look, we could talk about Tav as well, who I think's had an outstanding season. Phenomenal captain, absolute credit to the club. But we've spoken about Tav quite a lot this season. So, Alex, I want to talk about the main man, the man who has been, reports are to be believed, subject to bids already, which I don't believe, and I heard 4 million. I just laughed at that. Calvin Bassey. I hope that he starts next season with the same vigour that he's ended the season, which I'm pretty sure that he will. This boy's only going to get better and better, as you know.
Yeah, wow, what a player. I don't think anybody at the start of the season, I mean, you know, it's not really similar to Lundstrom. It can be in terms of opinions, but it's not really, because this guy's been there all season for us. Nobody at the start of the season would have known how important he would have been for us. And, you know, 5 games in, Barisic wasn't clicking. He was looking like the Barisic that just arrived. And it wasn't clicking for him, so Bassey came in at left back as cover. And the reason that he lasted more than 1 game and Barisic wasn't straight back in was because he looked good enough to play there. He looked better than Barisic was doing. And then, you know, in December and when Gio first comes in, we don't have the centre backs because people are out left, right and centre, and then he goes at centre back and he looks immense there as well. And he just looked so good every time he played. And he just, you know, he's so assured of himself and he's so confident. And also he helps going forward. I mean, the second goal in the home tie against Dortmund is just unbelievable from him. And you know, to get that ball in, there's a lot of people who wouldn't even, you know, have the confidence to try that. And he did. And even on Saturday, him getting forward and some of the stuff he was doing, I mean, the little bits of skill he was doing. And I think it was 119th minute, and you know, the ball's rolling out of play for a Hearts throw, and he absolutely legs it, pelts it, hits the Hearts player, and he wins the throw. And you know, he didn't stop. He doesn't stop, and he was just brilliant. He has been brilliant for definitely the second half of the season. The guy's made mistakes, but he's always bounced back, and I have to say, for somebody who I thought would be much, you know, he, at the beginning, or not at the beginning, but in parts, I didn't think he looked the part at centre back, and I thought he could only do the job really at left back. He has absolutely taken everyone's expectations and blown them out the water.
I have to make this point really quickly, Wolf. Bassey is first choice left back for me. For me, Calvin Bassey, although he's done brilliant at centre back, and it would never worry me if he was in there, for me, he's left back every day of the week. I think you get so much more out of him on the left.
You do, 100%, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he's going to be by default anyway, because I expect Barisic to leave in the summer window. And yeah, I mean, Bassey for me, 100% is their first choice left back next season. I mean, his performances at centre back have been nothing short of incredible. When you consider we were forced to play him in there in Prague, and it looked like he'd never seen a football pitch before. You know, I mean, it was the worst header of the ball I'd probably ever seen in a professional game in that match. And then they put him back in because of injuries in December time, and he's just come on leaps and bounds. He seems to be one of these players that you can teach. I mean, the word that you hear from from the training ground is you tell him something once and he gets it. I mean, even look at that Old Firm game when he went up to check and one of them was okay and he was told to get away. And in the next game, he walked past the guy with just looked at him with disdain and contempt. He just gets it. You tell him once and he does what he's told. He's very, very teachable. The thing that concerns me is he's also very, very sellable because he's at the peak of his powers. He's got 2 years left, so that's an ideal time for us to sell him if we won't sign it, if we won't offer him a new contract. He's also English trained, although he's a Nigerian international. He's English trained, so that's like the English tax. If he goes down south, they'll pay more money because he's classed as English for their squads, which they need. So I'm a bit worried that we might end up selling him because if we get a ridiculous bid in, then we're going to have to listen to it. It's whether he wants to go or not. But hopefully the recruitment team and Ross Wilson will say to him during the summer, listen, there's an extra year, extra 2 years. There's however much more on top of your salary. Just stay with us for at least a year. Because wherever he goes, you won't get what he's had in the last few weeks. He won't get a European final, and if he's lucky enough to get one, he certainly won't get one. He certainly won't get a European final with 150,000 fans at his back. Because he'll not sign for a club that's got the support we've got. Because he's not going to go to Real Madrid, or a Bayern Munich, who arguably have got what we've got.
Well, the rumours would suggest that Bayern Munich are one of the teams that are quite interested, and we know throughout. I mean, I don't know if that Alphonso Davies is still at Bayern. The Canadian guy at left back, again, phenomenal. But Bayern take young players and make them better.
They normally take them from Germany.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. Yeah, they love a bid in the Dutch league. They love to take them because what Bayern do is they try not to buy into the overbidding market of what is classed as the top 5 leagues. The leagues such as the Premier League where everything is overpriced. And what Bayern do is then they snipe around and get in the cheap bargains and sell them for however much profit they can because that's what they do. They are a powerhouse of Germany where they can bring in players such as Bassey, develop him as a centre back, as a left back if they need it. He might be back up for a bit, but then in a couple of seasons he might be moved on elsewhere. Bayern is a good place to go and learn that, and the size of him now, and what they say about Bayern, if he gets any bigger, it's over for anybody who's running at him.
That's saying to you, Scotty, why is Scott shaking his head? He nodding off. Of course, he's a left back.
How's he a left back? Have you not seen it? Have you not seen his performances at centre back?
I have.
He played a European Cup final at centre back, and he got man of the match.
I agree. I just think he's so much better.
No. But he's not. He's not. He's really not. And the priority should be getting a centre back to play with Bassey and getting a left back, because what Bassey does, not only is he solid defensively, but he brings the ball out from defence better than anyone. He takes it past players. He actually finds a very aggressive forward pass. And see, when you play it with guys like Lundstrom or Ryan Jack that can come in and cover it at centre back and he's away doing his thing, essentially what you've got is a 22-year-old Virgil van Dijk.
Can I throw a grenade in here? I think I think it's going to be used as both next season, because it wouldn't surprise me if we go 3 at the back.
Yeah, but that's where
hold on a second. But one of the key things that's constantly overlooked is you're arguing if he's a left back or a centre back. I'm saying he's better at centre back. You're saying he's better at left back. How good is he in both positions?
Amazing. Yeah. Listen, and I'm not disputing that at all.
This is absolutely incredible. I don't remember a last defender that has these attributes. That he's not the finished article yet, and he's not. In terms of centre backs, we're not talking about him in the same brackets as Richard Gough, Terry Butcher. But give him a few years, and give him 100 appearances, 150 appearances. The boy is class. And for the last 20 or 30 appearances he's played for Rangers, majority of which have been centre back, we have been playing extremely well, well. And not only that, but because Barisic has had him next to him at left back. Barisic's performance have got better.
Yeah,
you've got to take that into account as well. He is vitally important to the centre of that defence.
Hey, hold on, Alex.
Thank you. The way he works as well is the way we've been going is kind of like the three at the back, or as Scotty says, Jack or Lundstrom can dip into the defence and allow Bassey to move on. If we play that three or the wider centre backs the way we do with somebody dipping into the midfield, the wing backs that we have in Tavernier and Barisic, at the moment anyway, they can push on so much further forward, and they are such a threat for us. I mean, Tavernier's stats are unbelievably, ridiculous, and Barisic has got a wonderful left foot when he wants to. Having him out wide, if we can, if he stays, is so effective, and Bassey is instrumental in bringing the ball from the back, but also he is a powerhouse, and I think he's much better cover at centre back, especially like I say with a wide centre back. Left centre back is the position that Bassey is meant to play in my opinion. He can cover left back, yes. He can play in any of the centre back roles. His utility, like the way, what's the word I'm looking for?
Versatility.
That's the one. His versatility is unbelievable, and that's why he is such a valuable asset as well, as well as his ability and the leaps and bounds he's come on for us. But I'd have to agree with Scotty and say that his best position is at centre back, because I think without him at centre back as well, even if we are to play the wide centre backs, you're going to struggle to find somebody else that allows Barisic to push up as far as he does and, have a little bit of support.
I don't know. I just feel that he offers so much on. Maybe it's just because of how poor Barisic was, but exactly. when he's on the left, he just offers so much going forward. And like you're saying, the second goal at home against Dortmund, the way he gets something down the park, his deliveries have got a million times better than what they were when he first started. I just think he's so influential out on the left.
That's the point, though. We should be looking for a better left back. We shouldn't be looking at taking Bassey from his best position and putting him left back, where he is brilliant and he overlaps very, very well. But he's so much better at centre back.
At left back, man, come on.
He does that at centre back. He can do it. He's just an extremely gifted footballer, and I tell you what, now he's got the confidence. There's no stopping him. I mean, if we can get him to, one of the key criticisms of Bassey was the fact that he didn't know how to head a ball. And now he can head a ball. If we can get him at that next stage and get him to like Marvin Andrews' level of heading a ball, then no stopping him.
Both.
Martin.
Sorry, I cut you off.
It's all right. No, I was just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if we go for three at the back next season with Bassey as the left centre back, because John Souttar's played in the three when he was at Hearts.
What did you make of John Souttar, Wolf, in the cup final?
I thought he take Craig Gordon out of the equation. I thought he was Hearts' best player, and the Hearts support also thought he was Hearts' best player. They were a bit concerned about what he would be, because bear in mind I live with one of them. They were a bit concerned about how he would perform, but he was their best outfield player by a country mile. That came from the Hearts support themselves. They thought he had a great game. They're really going to miss him. But because we've signed him, I wouldn't be surprised if we go three at the back.
I guess a formation that Gio tends to. Yeah, he does like.
I get the boys' point about Bassey being a centre back. As I said earlier, I expect Barisic to go. So if Barisic goes, I think if we did play a flat back four, I think Bassey would be at left back, because there's no need for us to go and sign a left back, even if Barisic goes, if we can cover the centre half positions, because Bassey's more than capable out there, and young Robbie Fraser's coming through, and I think a season in the first team squad will do him the power of good, and he can come in in sort of 6 months, a year's time if he carries on going the way he's going. But that's all for the future.
Yeah, I've spoken to Robbie Fraser, by the way. His determination is unreal.
I think you could put Calvin Bassey anywhere on the park and he would do you a shift, to be perfectly honest. You could put him at centre forward and score your goals.
I know. Look, CGM, Sutter's quality and ability was never in doubt. It's the fact he's in injury waiting to happen that's the problem. We'll leave that until next season. Let's move on for the Bassey chat. Just very quickly, and then we're going to come to the quiz. Alex, Goldson, McGregor, and Stephen Davis. I think McGregor and Goldson definitely, and we're hearing rumours that Davis is away as well. So that's three vastly experienced players. Two at the end of their careers, if we're being honest, and one in Conor Goldson, who I think he's 28. Goldson, 29. Just firstly on Alan McGregor, Alex, I think fantastic servant to Rangers. If what happened didn't happen, he would have probably stayed here his whole career. But he's retiring at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the whole you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And you know, if he stays on longer and longer and longer, it's only, you know, it's the way of life. He'll slow down, his reactions will slow down, and he'll become less agile. And he's been an unbelievable servant, and what he's done for us. I mean, for me, obviously, I'm of a younger generation, and I didn't get to see the week in, week out of the other, you know, Klaus and Goram, etc. But for me, he's Rangers' greatest keeper, and you know, we have to thank him for what he's done. So
why did you have to say that? Because that just brings up debate.
That's exactly why I had to say it.
The naivety of youth.
Listen, the argument up until this season was, getting very, very close. The argument, but yeah, I'll put the same point to you, Scotty. McGregor, uncharacteristically, made a few mistakes this season. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes. We're just not used to seeing McGregor making those types of mistakes and as many as that. And then, of course, when that does happen because of his age, everyone then starts pointing to the fact that he doesn't come and catch the ball. McGregor's never came and caught the ball. So if it wasn't an issue then, why is it an issue now? But for me, like I said to Alex, it is time to, if not hang up the boots, move on.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, arguably, despite the season that, well, arguably he's already stayed on a year too long.
That's what CGM just said.
So, as sad as it is, the time is right. You just wish that he went out on Wednesday with a European trophy, and then that would really have solidified his Rangers' greatest keeper tag.
Oh, please don't trigger Wolf. Please. It's me that gets it. It's me that gets it. Wolf, I'm going to come to you on a different player, Stephen Davis. Talk to him going to St Mirren as a kind of player-manager role. If he does go, again, another fantastic servant to our club. And Rangers legend for you?
Absolutely, a Rangers legend, 100%. Hall of Famer once he retires without any question, as is Alan McGregor. There's absolutely no doubt about that in my mind. But I think Stephen Davis, if he stays in Scotland, he'll stay with Rangers if we want him. Because I think the only way he would turn down a contract with us is to get closer to his family, who I believe are down on the south coast, from when he was at Southampton. And you can't blame the man for that. I would still have him about the place as long as he's happy not to be expected to play all the time. To be a kind of what Jermaine Defoe was, playing here and there, a little bit part player here and there. Maybe add a wee bit of coaching into it. I don't know if the management team would want that though. But I can't see. I could be completely wrong, but I can't see Stephen Davis becoming a player coach at Motherwell or St Mirren as has been quoted. I really can't see that. I can't see Stephen Davis wanting to be involved with any team that will play against Rangers on a regular basis. I just can't see that.
I think CGM might have a slight hard-on for Ryan Jack. I like Davis, great player, but on Saturday there was a noticeable improvement when Jack replaced him. I thought Stephen Davis played really well on Saturday, actually, to be fair.
He's just a metronome, isn't he? He's just a class midfielder, but we just need more. We just need more now. That's it.
See, when you said metronome, that took me back to my early days of learning guitar, and that really fucked in my head there. Alex, Conor Goldson away. I think it's safe to say now. Look, what a $3.5 million, I think it was, we paid for him. If it was $4 million, at the $5 million, it wouldn't have mattered. He certainly gave Rangers 4 years of fantastic service. Made the odd mistake, but what player doesn't he? What a phenomenal player he's been for Rangers.
Yeah, well, just on what you're saying there, 3.5, 4, 5 million, whatever he costs us, it's going to cost us a lot more to replace him, to find a player of that caliber and replace him, in my opinion. It's not just about, how good he's been and how he's been our best centre-back, for the last couple of years. It's about the fact that he's there every single week. I don't know how many games he's missed over the period that he's been here, but he is absolutely there week in, week out, and he's always available for the games. And you struggle to find players like that, especially over the course of 3.5 years or however long he's been here. So
he doesn't even want to miss a pre-season friendly.
No,
he just wants to play every game.
He'll be sorely missed, but I wish him the best in whatever he does.
I think he's available. Paul has just put it in the comments. His availability alone's worth the $3.5 million, to be fair. Aye, absolutely. Well, right, we need to talk about this before we come to the quiz, which is probably the most important thing, I suppose. Now the league's done, all the players are away for a break, so now it's a case of looking ahead to next season. There's talk Rangers have made between 35 and 50, depending on what you believe, out of the Champions League, the Europa League as a whole, getting to the final, all that comes with it. So now the board have to back Gio. Of course, we need to make improvements to the squad. Where do we need to make improvements, and what type of players do we need to bring in?
We need to bring in a midfield player that's going to score goals. We need to bring in a striker. We potentially need to bring in a backup goalkeeper, because I think John McLaughlin's probably been told he's getting the number 1 jersey. I can't see any other reason for him to sign a 2.5-year contract earlier in the season. So, but I mean, goalkeeper's the place we probably don't need to spend money, because McLaughlin, as I say, has probably been told he'll be number 1 for at least a year. And then you've got Robbie McCrory there. You've got a lot of decent young players. Probably need to bring in a keeper. But you don't want to be spending big money on him, because we've got other places we need to spend money. We need to replace Goldson. That's going to probably take 2 players because of his availability. Because you're not going to get somebody. I mean, it's been suggested that Suter's the replacement for Goldson. He really isn't, because you'll be lucky to get 25 games a season out of Suter.
Yeah,
because his ankles are made of crisps. You know what I mean? Which is a problem. Midfield, we're overloaded with midfield players all fighting for the same positions. So what we bring in really depends a lot on what we sell, what goes out. I mean, there's a lot of players coming to the last year of their contract. So if they all go, we've got a big rebuilding job on our hand. I mean,
it's a massive summer, to be fair.
Potentially, you could be looking at replacing Aribo, Kent, Morelos, Hadji. There's 4 off the top of my head. They could all be going because they're in the last year of their deals. As we said earlier, ridiculous, because you remember Bassey, they could say, yeah, okay, we'll get rid of him. We don't know. We don't know what we need till we get rid of him. I mean, Van Bronckhorst said he wants to get his business done early. So hopefully he's got his eyes on a few people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we can't
get it done early for the qualifiers. Can I just apologise, Wolf? We are doing this show with 2 very immature children.
No, you got to bring that comment back up. You can't leave it.
The CGM comment.
Okay. Right. My interpretation of this is CGM gets Missy CGM to dress up as Ryan Jack. Does anyone read that like that?
That's what I thought was, a Ryan Jack mask. That's what I was thinking.
That's a serious Rangers podcast.
You can't bring the comment disappeared. I didn't even process it before it was off the screen.
Well, I can give Alex a pass because he's young.
I can see his face chucking away. He's thinking what I'm thinking.
I can't give Scott. We're talking about probably the most serious point on the pod, and you 2 decide to become children. She has a Ryan Jack top, to be fair.
I didn't even notice the giggle. There you go.
That's because you're a professional, Wolf. That's because you're a professional.
I do try.
Scotty, as Wolf was saying there, well used to rudely interrupted. Not just transfers, but regarding contracts, players we want to keep, players we want to get rid of. Ross Wilson's got a big job in the summer.
He has, yeah.
Thank you, Scotty.
It's money. It is huge. And where do you start? Do you start with bringing players in, or do you start with existing squad and tying them down? Because I thought they would have that done by now. Yeah, I'm of the opinion that we need quite a big refresh, and if we're going to do it, we've got to do it properly. We can't, the likes of Aribo, if we can get big money for them, fine. I think we can find players that bring what he brings in numbers elsewhere. I want to see guys like Lowry, McCann, King have more of a prominent role in the first team squad. But I also think with those three guys that's coming in, that gives us a massive opportunity. If we sell players for money, as well as the money that we've earned, we could actually, or what we should be doing, is looking at 2 or 3 big players coming in, big expenditures, big outlays, big players coming in, and using what we've already got for the squad. Because as I said before, I think our squad is good enough, and our squad should have won this league with guys that are constantly improving, like Scott Wright, Bassey, Suter obviously coming in, but 20, 25, 30 games. That's the expectation. If we get more out of him, brilliant. But big player at centre back, big player in midfield, big player up front, and a right winger.
It's not a summer though, Alex, that Ross Wilson can really afford to get wrong, is it?
No, he definitely can't afford to get it wrong, and I agree with what Scotty says. We still have, in my opinion, we still have the best squad in our country. But one of the main issues with our squad is the size of it. Obviously there's a lot of deadwood that needs to go, but it doesn't seem to be, in quality standards anyway, big enough. And that's why when players like Roof and Morels go out injured, you're relying on changing up tactics and having to put Aribo where he is. And that's where the likes of youth can come through and help, but you can't rely on them to be producing, our 10, 11 players for our season, or even, maybe 4 or 5 should be, involved in the squad. And this isn't something, there are going to be players leaving. There has to be, for our benefit and for theirs. And there'll be players coming in. It's about getting it right and getting it right soon, not last day of the window getting players in, because that's when they can't, they're not involved enough, and it takes a little bit of time to settle. Let's just say it takes a little bit of time to settle for them or whatever. Getting them in sooner, that period's over, and also, they can merge with the squad quicker, and we can build on that. When you're getting people in last day, you're then going, okay, is he in my mind for the next game? It has to be done sooner rather than later, so that then we can see the squad and see what we've got, and then if we need any additions last minute, not that we should, but if we do, then you can go back into the market.
We should only be spending money on first team starters.
Yeah, because
the youth coming through.
Well,
as I said, there's guys like Robbie Fraser, and the like that are coming through that can fill the spaces on the bench that at the moment are being filled by, just squad fillers, if you like. We don't need to bring in squad fillers. We need to bring in guys that are going to start, guys that have got a chance of getting right into the first team.
On that, Wolf, the way what Scotty said there, CGM makes that point as well. We can't rely on freebies or loans. We need to invest in a proper player or two, spend Kent levels on a player, right? Yeah. Number one, Wolf, do we have to, 2 or 3, which would be what? That would be 20 million. Well, number one, do we have to do that? And number 2, if we do we trust Ross Wilson enough to bring in 2 or 3 marquee signings?
no to the second part, and possibly to the first question, because it depends. We'll need to do it if some of the first team players that we mentioned earlier leave, the ones that I expect to leave, because for what we are told our model is now, with the amount of players we've got with a year left in the contract, we're going to have to sell some of them. We're going to have to sell a Kent and a Rebo.
You're not going to get as much back on the investment. There was only a year left on the contract.
No, you're not. That's what I'm saying. You're not. But
just getting tied up to a new fucking contract, Ross Wilson. Please.
But they maybe don't want to sign it. They maybe want to go now because they realise that. Well, maybe for example, we'll just name Ryan Kent to name a player. Maybe he's looking at it saying, "Well, okay, I've done my time here. I've done my bit, right? I don't want to sign a new contract because that if I don't do that, they'll have to sell me for 10 million instead of 15 million. So I'll get maybe £1 million in my pocket as a signing on fee. He could be
of course.
You know, whereas he signs a new contract that's 15 million and he gets £500,000 signing on fee. I don't know how the guy thinks that's how things are with players. So it's a difficult conversation to have because we don't know who's going out. But any of these players that are a year left that aren't getting sold have to get new contracts because we can't be in the position that we're in with Goldson. I mean, like Alex, I wish Conor Goldson the best of luck the rest of his career. Wherever he goes, he's done us a great turn for the outlay on him. But we can't have too many. We can't have too many players leaving. There'll always be one or two that leave for nothing. But we can't have it. We can't have all these players running down their contracts, even get into the January window, being able to speak to other teams. Because, okay, we made 30, 40, 50 million, whatever it is, from the European run. We're not always going to have that European run. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we are, but it's not going to happen every season.
I don't know if I could financially afford it every season, if I'm being brutally honest with you.
I'll be bankrupt.
You need a job first.
By the way, on what Wolf's saying there about you can't be allowing... I know it's not going to happen to us, or it shouldn't happen to us, and it's not going to happen many times across the world, but look what happened with Mbappe. I mean, he practically owns PSG now. So, and no player should ever be bigger than the club. So
Bassey can own Rangers if he wants.
Hold on. On that, right? Did anyone see who is it? Was it a Bayern Munich player? Sorry. Did anyone see the Bayern Munich player tweet about breaking up with his girlfriend who plays for the PSG?
Yeah, and then
with his name, and then the comment under it. What was it?
It was something like Mbappe owns PSG now, so he gets to decide who she dates.
Yeah, right, okay. Quiz time. Right, the rules are very simple. There's only 10 questions. It's a quick one. Wolf, Alex, and Totty, you cannot see the comments. I have disabled the comments for yourselves. Get your phones ready. Private message me on WhatsApp. You've got 10 seconds from when I finish the question. And if I tell you there's double points, I'll explain why there's double points for that question. So please do play along in the comments. 10 questions. Most of them very simple, very easy. Just a bit of fun to finish up the season. Wolf, Alex, Scotty, are you ready?
Yep.
Hang on, I've just sent you a test message and it's not gone through.
Right, well, you obviously didn't. Yes, you did. Okay, no. The answer to that question is no. That's no points. No points for Scotty. No points for Scotty. Test message. Wolf, where's your test message? Type test message. Right, so play along in the comments. Wee bit of fun to end the season. The first there, will you fuck off, Scotty? Right. I'm due an Orwell. Right, the first question, there's a bonus point on offer. Do not say the answer out loud, right? There's a bonus question on offer if you give me the correct number. Okay, so question number 1. Who was Rangers' top scorer in all competitions this season? Who was Rangers' top goal scorer in all competitions this season? Bonus point if you can tell me the amount of goals this person scored. 10 seconds start now.
I should know this.
I love it when people panic. Oh, I love it when people panic. Come on, Wolf.
I'm trying to add them all up.
No. You've only got 5 seconds.
I've got this horribly wrong.
Seconds.
I've got this so badly wrong.
5, 4,
I've
3.
That is the longest 10 seconds ever. That was at least a minute.
I'm trying my best. I am trying my best. Right. So,
Alex, that was a minute, wasn't it? That was a whole
I think that was about 5 minutes.
People in the comments with
Is that what you tell your missus?
Now, people in the comments with their answers. We've got M Family who says Tav. Right? Paul thinks it's Tav.
But it's not Tav, is it?
Matt Gunner thinks it's Morelos. Just wait. Let me
Oh, Matt's right.
J Mac thinks it's Tav. CGM says Morelos. Right, now for the numbers. Now, what did Matt Gunner say? Matt Gunner said Morelos, and he said 19 goals. I can tell you Rangers' top goal scorer this season was Alfredo Morelos with 19 goals. There you go, Matt. You get 2 points.
Oh, it was close.
Alex, it's a point because he went Morelos with 20. Wilf and Scott, you're just wrong. You're just both wrong. James Tavernier with 18. James Tavernier did get 18 goals this season, Scotty. You are right. But Morelos pipped him. And Wilf Roof with 18. That's not acceptable for a man of your calibre, Will.
Has Roof even had 18 appearances?
Wait till later. Right, question number 2.
It's ridiculous.
Dead easy one. You should all know this one. Dead easy.
Oh, I'm sweating.
Rangers have only had 1 red card all season. Who was it?
All competitions.
In the league?
All competitions. Rangers have only had 1 red card this season. Who was it?
To get a bonus point.
What is it? Straight red?
Straight red.
What?
Oh.
I've just given my answer and then you just...
1 red card all season.
Swine.
Who was it?
Straight red.
That's 10 seconds.
That is 10 seconds. Okay. 1 red card all season. Who was it? Now, I'm not going to tell you where I got my answers from. Okay. But I can tell you that that's wrong. That question is wrong. There's actually two red cards.
In all competitions, we had a few, did we not? But some of them were probably double yellows, were they? Because you had...
Sorry. The question was in the league. Sorry.
All right, okay.
I'll give you another 10 seconds to answer. If you want to change your answer...
my mind's gone blank. I'm too angry now.
So...
Well, hang on, Martin. Can I get a bonus point if I say the other one now?
No. We've only had 1 red card in the league this season. Who was it? Scotty, do you want to change your answer?
I'm covering all bases.
I'll tell you, Scotty, your original answer was wrong. All right.
Yeah, I know it's wrong.
Right. I don't actually think your answer's right, Scotty.
It's a dead easy one, says Martin.
One, if you get the question right. It was, of course... I'm trying to find somebody who's got the right answer. Balogun.
Yeah.
Yes! It was, of course, Balogun. You've all got Balogun.
And
was
the other one
United?
was... No, it was Motherwell.
Oh.
It was it was a 3-1 game. That was recent, but...
it was a horrendous challenge.
And then they got a yellow for the same tackle about 20 seconds later.
Right, you might not like this question.
Oh, Christ.
And there's a bonus point on offer for this question as well.
Okay.
Right? If you can give me the correct number, there's a bonus point on offer for this question as well. Right. In all competitions, and it is in all competitions, who has the most yellow cards this season for Rangers? Oh, it's a horrendous question. It's a horrendous question.
And you get a bonus point for if you could get how many yellows
this person has had. It's a horrendous question. The most yellow cards for Rangers this season.
I don't know if I feel like I might have gone way too high here, but...
You can tell me the right number as well, Scotty, you get a bonus point. Right? If you can tell me the right number, you get a bonus point.
Oh, shit, I can't even... No, I think I'm going a bit high there. That's a yes.
Right. That's all the answers in. All the answers in from the comments. I can tell you that the person who got the most yellow cards for Rangers this season was Conor Goldson.
Yes.
How many did he get? Let's just take a look at some of the answers that people have typed in before I tell you how many they got. Bit of breaking news, none of you's got a bonus point. And you got it wrong.
I must have been close, though.
You were very close. Matt Gunner says Ryan Jack. Nope. Bob says Goldson. Correct. Matt Gunner says Jack as well. Somebody said Arfield. No. Lundstrom get 12 yellow. Lundstrom. See, I've got Lundstrom in the head. He get 12 yellow cards, Conor Goldson.
I was a little bit off.
12 yellow cards. So there you go. Right. Question number 4. Oh, you're going to hate me for this one. I do apologise.
What do you mean, going to?
Including off the bench in all competitions, how many appearances did Aaron Ramsey make for Rangers? How many appearances did Aaron Ramsey make for Rangers? Your 10 seconds starts now.
Scotty knows this. He's Ramsey's biggest fan.
All the answers are in. All the answers.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because all three you're wrong.
No, well, not you. Why is Alex laughing at me?
No, because I said you should be getting this one right because you're Ramsey's biggest fan.
Oh, I'm just wondering.
Do you know that actual number's going to surprise a lot of you? Because you're all far too low. Aaron Ramsey made 20 appearances for Rangers. 20.
Next.
Who's zero?
Nah,
He did.
no buying that.
He did. He made 20 appearances.
How many
Wolf,
starts? One.
He's been getting the questions wrong. He's going to be getting the answers wrong.
Not at all. But not one person getting it. I mean, Stuart Henderson was the closest with 15.
Who was the closest out of us?
Oh no, Alfredo says 19, but I think that was after I said 20.
Who was the closest out of us?
So are you saying Alfredo got the answer wrong despite having the answer?
Yes.
You cannot abuse our viewers like that. That is just not on.
Ironically, Wilf and Scott both said 8,
Yeah.
and Alex, you said 7.
Yeah.
I think you need to look up the definition of irony.
But yeah. Okay, question number 5. Again, there's a bonus point on offer here. If you can give me the amount of goals. Who was Rangers' top scorer in the Scottish Cup this season? Rangers' top scorer in the Scottish Cup. Struggling? Top scorer in the Scottish Cup.
Oh, I didn't. Hang on.
Well, stop looking up the answer.
He is. Look at him.
Yes, as
Will,
well.
Wilf, if you're going to cheat, take off your glasses.
Wilf, your 10 seconds are up in 5, 4,
Again.
3, 2, 1.
2, 1.5.
You know what? You're going to kick yourself, by the way, right? Because none of you are right. But see if you get the right amount of goals, I'll give you the bonus point, right?
Oh, we're putting in as well.
If you don't listen. No, the thing is, Scotty, you and Alex both get the number right, but I'm not giving you the bonus point. Rangers' top scorer in the Scottish Cup this season was Sakala.
If I sing the song, will you give me a point?
Absolutely not. Scott, you said Scott, right? Wolf, you said Roof and didn't give me a number. And Alex, you said Tav, but you did say 3 goals. So, Alex, you get a wee point there.
But I said 3.
But you said it well after the 10 seconds.
I'm being
Alfredo was close. He said Sakala with 4. J Mac got it spot on. He said Sakala with 3. Tommy Boy said Sakala with 3. Brian Miller said Scottish Cup. Most of the guys watching this know the answers, guys. Come on.
That's because they've got Google next to them.
No, nobody's doing that. Nobody.
Again, stop abusing the viewers.
Right, this question. I need to explain this question before I ask it. Right?
I have to say, if you have to explain the question, it's not a good question.
Right, this question is about the Europa League, right? And it does not include qualifiers, just group stages and knockout stages. Does not include qualifiers. There's a bonus point on offer if you can give me the number. Okay, so who played the most games in the Europa League this season? Who played the most games in the Europa League this season? Just group stage and knockout. So if you can give me the amount of games and the name, then you get 2 points. If you can give me the amount of games, but the wrong name, you get a point. If you can give me the name and the wrong games, you get a point. 10 seconds, start now. Who played the most games in the Europa League? Come on, guys.
Double answer.
Oh, I went the wrong way. I've seen my answer a few times.
You're just sending me numbers, Alex.
I'm going with the last one. It's probably wrong, but I'm going with the last one.
Do you know what?
I should have stuck one.
I'm not giving you the last one, Alex. The first one is what I'm taking. Right now, Alex has said Goldson. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments saying Tav McGregor. Let me see. So, Scotty, you've said Tav, right? I don't know why you're laughing. I mean, it's wrong, but I don't know why you're laughing.
Because look at him. He's sitting there. He's not happy to be here anymore.
Goldson. Now, we were talking in the pod tonight, and what did we say about a certain Rangers player who's played far too much this season?
Aribo.
Aribo has played the most European games for Rangers. However, Scott, do you know how many games he's played?
15.
There you go. Scotty gets a point.
Come on, man.
There we go.
I said 15.
No, you said Goldson 14, 13, and then 15. So, no, I'm sorry, that's just cheating. Wolf said Goldson 11. So that's 0 and 0. So did we get any right answers in the comments? Tommy Boy was close. Aribo 13. Paul McGarrigle. Tav played 14. I'm trying to think what game Tav missed.
Leon away.
Leon away. There you go. Nobody got that right. I mean, CGM said Aribo, so I suppose I could maybe give him that. Right, where are we? Question 7. This is a wee bit of a fun one, right? It's multiple choice. This is multiple choice. Now, by all accounts here, there's actually 4. No, there's not. There's 3 points on offer here, right? Because if you give me the amount of games, the amount of appearances, but you get it wrong, you get 2 points. If you give me the amount of appearances and you get it right, you get 3 points, right? Who made more appearances this season for Rangers? Jermaine Defoe or Brandon Barker? Who made more appearances this season for Rangers? Jermaine Defoe or Brandon Barker? And if you can give me the amount of appearances that both of them made, then you'll get points for that as well.
Both of them made?
Yeah, if you can give me the amount of games they both played. So who made more appearances this season for Rangers? Wolf's fucking Googling it, Brandon Barker.
Sending you my answers. You'll have them already. You didn't just guess my way through this.
Right. Now, I'm just having a wee look at the comments, right? Most people are wrong. Brandon Barker this season made 3 appearances for Rangers. Jermaine Defoe made 2.
Oh, fuck! I was going to put 2, but I thought I could only remember him playing. Oh, fuck's sake.
Scotty, you get 2 points. Wolf, you went for Barker, so you get a point, but you said Barker played 4 games.
I didn't quantify which way around they were.
Alex, what did you put? Brandon Barker, and you said he played 4 games as well. So you only get a point there, Alex.
Yeah.
You only get a point.
Yeah.
If only Scotty had put 2 for Defoe, he'd have been right back in it. As it stands,
I'm a miles away.
He's miles away.
What's the scores of the doors?
I'm not telling you the scores on the doors. I'll tell you the scores on the doors in a minute, right?
Alex is a mile ahead.
I don't know. Alex was panicking before it as well. I mean, that's us going to question 8, which all 3 you should get.
I can't believe at my age I don't have any short-term memory.
Paul, that's a shocking attempt. That is a shocking attempt, Paul. I'm not going to obviously slag our viewers because I want you to come back, but that's
not going to slag our viewers, but
I mean that's a better attempt, True Blue. Brandon Barker before we free. You're close there. I think that's what both Wilf and Alex put. CGM, I thought better of you. I thought you'd have known that. Martin, are you even tallying the scores? You bet I am, family. I'm tallying the scores. Right, okay, so the scores are as follows. Alex has 5.
That means I can come back to the Rabble. That's fine.
Scott, because of that wee bonus point, has 5. Wilf has 2. Disappointed, Wilf.
I'm tired.
Right. Is this question now before 2010?
No, there's no question.
I think someone might struggle with any question before 2010.
Scott, I struggle with any question after 2010.
By the way, Johnny makes a point here. I'm sounding a wee bit like Sue Barker, and I apologise. I actually heard it while I was talking. I didn't mean to sound like Sue Barker. There's a question that I think is from the early 80s.
Is Anna Schweitzer around somewhere?
Yeah, well, yeah. I knocked him back. Right, question 8. As we all know, Jake Hastie won the league with Linfield, picking up a nice wee winner's medal. But he started the season out on loan at another club. Who was that club? Come on. He started the season out on loan at another club. Who was that club?
I could be thinking of last season. I could be thinking of last season.
4, 3, 2, 1. Right. Oh, Wilf and Scott, what are you all about, man?
I don't mean I got it right.
Alex, you got it right.
That's
it was Partick Thistle.
Yep.
Come on. Nearly everybody in the comments. Paul, you're disappointing me tonight, buddy. You're really disappointing me tonight.
All right, Chuckles, calm down.
I'm turning into Alan, aren't I? Everybody else said Thistle.
Alex, did you say Partick Thistle or Thistle?
I just said Partick.
You just said that's just
no. I'm no Alan. I'm no Alan, right? See if you said Plastic Thistle, I'd have gave you 5 points. But there you go. Right. You're going to kill me for this question, right? And I'm really, really sorry. But I thought to myself, I need one really hard one in there. Right? So here we go. The Rangers manager, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, as we know, played for a multitude of teams, multitude of phenomenal teams like Rangers, like Feyenoord, like Arsenal, like Barcelona. Who was his first professional team? Who was Gio's first professional team? Where did he start his career?
I thought it was Feyenoord, but obviously it isn't.
Well, don't say that after I've sent that.
5 seconds.
Is this a trick question?
No.
I hope so.
It's Feyenoord, isn't it?
I hope so.
It's not Feyenoord. It is not Feyenoord, and nobody in the comments has got it right either. Wilf, you're wrong. Scott, you're wrong. Alex, you're wrong. You're all wrong. I didn't think any would get that. I just thought I'd throw it in. The answer was, as Chris Stewart rightly points out, Arbroath. Winding you up. Oh, look at the faces. Oh, look at the faces. Look at the faces. No, it was RVV Limo. I've never heard of them. I just thought I'd throw that one in there just to really piss you off.
Are you telling me that you've put the answer as like a boys' club? Not even a proper football club. It's a boys' club.
It was a school team.
Oh,
it's not.
Are you taking the piss?
I got all my information off Transfer Market, right? So that is a professional club. I checked.
Is it actually a professional club? Because there's only about 4 professional clubs in Holland.
There's only like 4 professional clubs in Scotland. Nobody in the comments got it right. So we're on to the final question, and I know that Wolf's going to get this one right. I absolutely know that Wolf's going to get this one right.
No pressure.
Simple question. What is the name of the Rangers club doctor? What is the name of the Rangers club?
Another one from like years and years and years ago. I don't know if it's the same one.
What is
not
the name?
Not sure if I spelled that right, but I think that's it.
Of the Rangers club doctor.
I'm not even gonna stagger a guess.
You're not even going to guess that one?
Well, I'm not gonna guess it right, so.
Right, well, that's you out of time. I'm just going to mark down. I don't know. I'm going to have to put this to the judges. Okay. Well, what was your what were you trying to say in your answer? What was your answer supposed to say?
Mark Votter.
Right. Well, that's wrong. It's Mark Waller. Mark Waller. I can't give you that, Wolf. Can't give you it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I cannot give you it.
Fair enough. I just know it was Mark, so.
Do you know what? Well, fuck it. I'll give you it.
I just call. I need the points.
You need the point. You do.
I'm fucking last anyway, so.
Mark Waller, Dr. Leg, Dougie Hauser. That's another one that I quite like. Right. Okay. I shall tally up the scores. What did you make of the quiz? Did you enjoy that?
No.
We could have done with 5 more questions.
Oh no!
You haven't prepared a tiebreak answer, have you?
No. I didn't think it would go to a tiebreaker. Oh no!
Why is the guy so happy with that one?
Oh, right. Can somebody in the comments...
I'll give you a tiebreaker question. Since I absolutely blew that. Right.
I tell you what, is it like a guess the number? Or what's...
No.
Go for it.
Right, okay. Now remember, you're sending your answers to Martin.
Yes.
Right, and I expect you both to know it, so the first one to send it to him wins.
Oh, hold on. I'm not that.
Scotty lives in London. He's got faster internet than me.
Right.
Will Sterling in from 1970. Don't worry about it.
Ali McCoist, MBE, Rangers' greatest ever goal scorer. What was the name of his high school?
Well, I know it.
I don't know that.
Oh, come on. You don't know it? Do you not know it? Even I know that. No, Scott.
What did he say?
Hey, well, Alex ran out of time. It was Hunter High School.
Hunter High, East Kilbride, that's right. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Right, I need somebody in the comments to help me out here. I need a tie-break question, and I need it yesterday. So can somebody please give me a tie-break question?
Very embarrassing.
I did not expect it to go to a tie-break.
This is supposed to be a serious professional podcast with a serious professional end-of-season quiz, and you've let me down. I've got a question.
But you're in the tie-break. I need a tie-break question. I need it quick, folks. I need it quick. Oh, I'll tell you. All right, this is going to be a horrible one, right? But I'm going to go with it. Obviously, Rangers lost the Europa League final to Frankfurt, as we're all aware.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, I know, but it's a tie-break question.
You're doing an absolutely sterling job this evening.
Yes. How many points did Frankfurt finish with in the league? 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what you call a quick as fuck tiebreak.
I messaged you the answer to the question I thought you were going to ask.
Oh, right. No. Right. So the answer that Alex gave me was 64, and the answer that Scotty gave me was 48. I can confirm that the winner,
way closer for sure.
the winner of this year's end of season Rangers Rabble quiz, Frankfurt finished with 42 points. It's Scotty. There you go.
In the rules set out by Bruce's Price is Right, you can be under, but you can't be over.
Yeah, well,
So we need another question.
So he's over, so he's fucked it.
No, I mean, J-Mac was the closest, man. He was 43. He's by the way, we might need to get him. I don't know if they're Googling it, right? But he might need to come on.
Well, I hope he's not Googling it because he's got it wrong. So
Well, that's true. That is very, very true. Right, guys, that's us for the season. Done. I think that's us done, Scotty. I don't know.
Is it?
What do you think?
Well, if you're very lucky, you might get a pod next week from Narsa if you're very lucky. But you might.
Well,
I'm not making any promises. Not making any promises, but you might, because there is 2 or 3 of us out there. So
there actually is quite a few out there. To be fair, I wish I could go, but no.
Oh, your missus is letting you travel, so and you've not got a job, so
that's I know that's the reason I can't go. I just want to say a big massive thank you to everybody who's been watching. Hold on, everybody who's been watching, everybody who's subscribed. I mean, we've went well over 5,000 subscribers now in such a short.
We've lost 4,000 because of that stupid quiz.
Everybody loved my quiz. Everybody loved it.
Yeah, but the viewers didn't like you slagging them.
I didn't slag anybody.
Oh yeah, no, Alex the Perrier.
No, I didn't slag anybody at all.
Listen to this, Martin. You should be taking points off him for this.
Absolutely not. I'll just dedicate my win to my biggest fans. Thank you.
What's that? You're dedicating the win to yourself? That joke fell right on deaf ears.
Yeah, I was going to say something. I've completely forgotten. And CGM and his wife dressed up as Ryan Jack tonight.
That is going to make my summer off. I'm giving everybody the summer off to refresh, and we'll be back soon. If you subscribe on Twitter and you've got the notifications on in the community bit, I'll put a message about when we're going to come back and stuff like that. But just a massive thank you to everybody who takes the time out to watch. I can't believe how many people do watch it. I'm shocked, actually, especially when you consider this beard. I mean, and these CDs.
Can I just ask? We're 2 hours in. Is anyone actually still watching?
204 people.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
203 of them fell asleep after an hour.
It's just Martin with 203 monitors in the background.
Yeah, it's all my family. So yeah, that'll do us. Wolf, Alex, Scotty, thank you for coming on, guys, and doing a 2-hour special.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. What's my prize?
Your prize is that you get to come back next season.
Oh.
What's the first prize?
The first prize is a night out with me now that I have now lost my job because I went to Seville. Chris Stewart, smash the like button for the last pod of the season. Please do subscribe, like, all that good jazz. Enjoy your summer. Enjoy a bit of relaxation. There's no more Europe to worry about, league to worry about. We can all chill out. Who we try, kid, man? I'm going to be lost. I might even just do some random pod just because I'm lost.
Can I also just finish something on a really serious note? The football's finished, and I know a lot of people look forward to the Rangers games. Rangers do a lot for people's mental health and whatnot. And now we're going through a period where we won't have the football. We don't have anything in the summer to look forward to. But if anyone's going through any struggles and needs to chat, please reach out to, I'm sure, any of us. We're always going to be here, always going to be in here. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and the Rabble DMs on Twitter are always open.
And always know you're not alone. You're not alone, and it's never gonna be a hell of a lot harder to take on by yourself, and trust me, you have allies, and use us, even just to have a rant, even if the rant is about Martin. It's fine. I'm happy to listen. I have enough myself.
Yes, they
mate.
all do.
I'm going to be on at you in a bit.
Well, Alan Simpson wants us to sing everybody out. Do you want to sing?
What should we sing?
Well, Scotty's singing the Sakala song, is he not?
Yes, Scott, you're singing the Sakala song.
Have you got the backing music? What?
Thank you.
Zamana, vaka, zamana, zangalo. He comes from Zambia.